mail-in podcast. It is March 16th. I'm your host, Brad Merriman. In front of me, the lovely Sally deFries. Hey, Sally.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm doing great.
That was like I'm not doing great, but I am doing great. What was that?
Well, I just checked my credit score.
Ooh, and survey says?
It's fine.
Same.
Yeah, I used to have a great credit score, and then I had a little
Incident?
sitch.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine.
Have you ever heard about my sitch, which has resulted in my credit score being bad for years?
No, what was your sitch?
I had a bundle of student loans that they had the non-updated contact information to, put it that way. So my apartment in Boston that I had not lived at for 3 years was getting all of my like, hey, why aren't you paying us notices? And I just didn't realize that I had this bundle that was due at all.
Yeah.
So the biggest issue was, and it's not for a ton of money, it was for like $9,000 total.
Yeah.
But it was bundled into
late payments.
It was bundled into 11 different loans.
Ooh.
Which were, so I was late 11 times a month for 3 years.
Was your credit score like 4? Like
no, I mean it was in the fives.
Yeah.
When I looked for the first time and I was like, what in the world? Like I applied for a credit card to move to New York City with.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was like, Dad, why is my credit score this? He's like, do you even have credit besides the loans we're paying off? I was like, yeah. And so we called, a bureau, and they're like, oh yeah, well, how about this loan? We're like, what loan?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you should probably, update that. So still working that one through, but I think it's 7 years. So
7
it should
years.
be,
Yeah.
I'm pretty darn close for that being off my record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Psyched about that. But yeah, that's going to hurt for another year.
Mine actually was also a late payment
Oh,
on a mascara from Nordstrom.
Oh, you had one of those credit cards.
Yeah, I literally bought a mascara, thought my credit card was on auto pay. It was not.
Oh no.
And I was like postpartum and didn't realize.
Oh, this is recent.
This was like a couple months ago. And my credit score plummeted so hard that I thought that my identity had been stolen until I realized.
Come on.
Then I realized that I hadn't paid my Nordstrom card. That literally the only thing I had charged to it was a mascara.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's actually it for a couple months was not great, and now it's like back up.
Yeah.
But I'm in the middle. I just refinanced my student loans, so I've had a couple of hard inquiries. Those are tanking it too.
You know what? The dumbest thing is when there's all these new like spending trackers or this or that, or like you go to inquire about, like I refinanced some credit card debt last year, and hard inquiries from like these random Instagram apps that are like, oh, we can help. Fuck your credit score. So I had like 3 hard inquiries in a month, like in a day when I was looking at this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think they say they're supposed to be soft, but no, they were just hard.
Well, and if you do, at least for me, when I was looking at different banks to like refinance with, if you do multiple in a 2-week period, they only count as one.
Oh, that's nice.
They're supposed to. So that you can like shop around for what?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no.
Credit is stupid. Like who was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make it impossible for people to like, because like, what if you just like want to live your life off the grid and then you don't have credit and then you
can't get a loan. Sorry. Can't buy a house unless you pay cash.
Yeah.
What a system, eh?
But I now like obsessively check my credit score.
Oh, I can't do that.
Because now I'm like, what am I going to miss? Like, what if I miss something? And I probably should be better about, I used to be really good about like checking all my credit card statements and bank accounts and stuff to make sure that there's like nothing. But the way that I spend money now on shit for Fritz, there's like probably stuff that I'm buying that I like don't recognize the name of. For example, the smart dancing cactus I just bought for Fritz and my nephew.
Oh, okay.
And it came from China. Like a front, there's like a website that I bought it from that's like a front for some, Chinese company.
Of course, yes.
And I just got it after ordering it a month ago. And
supply chain issues.
I'm fairly certain that the thing I bought. So it's like this little plush cactus and it dances and it sings, but it also can repeat back to you what you say.
Whoa, you are in deep with the Chinese government.
Well, I didn't realize that till I just got it. And it was like I was telling my babysitter about it and then it was repeating everything we said.
No way.
And I was like, oh no. I just introduced like a freaking microphone from China into our house.
You got Fritz in deep with the CCP.
I mean, now like
wow.
mean, China already has all my information, but now they definitely have all my information.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like as long as you have a phone in your pocket, your privacy's toast. Let's be real here. Wow, that's wild. Did you like throw it out?
No, because it's like pretty cute, and I feel like Fritz is really gonna like it. Rosie does not like it. Our dog.
What if Rosie barks? Will it bark back at her?
I don't know. Actually, that's a good point. She didn't bark at it. She just kind of cowered at it and was like, "Oh shit!" Like, but the thing is, so that there's two of them because I bought one for Bane and one for Fritz. But
sure. Happy birthday, Bane, by the way.
Yeah. When one starts dancing, because it copies what the other one does, they both start dancing.
No way.
And like singing after each other.
So wait. So it not only does it repeat back your words, it copies the dance moves.
Yes.
So there's a camera involved.
No, it's not. Well, it just does this like wiggle thing, but because it's like playing the same music as the other one, they're both just like, it looks like one of those like blow up like.
Oh, the inflatable tube-man things? Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah,
it was maybe not the smartest purchase, but like.
No, it's fine. All of our privacy's toast anyway. I just live with it now.
Yeah.
Like when I get served ads, I'd rather be served stuff that I want to buy.
Well,
because they know my thoughts and fears.
So this is the thing. I bought this dumb thing like a month ago, thinking I would have plenty of time for it to come for Bane's birthday. And then I realized when I got the tracking that it was coming from China, and I was like, fuck, it's going to take forever. And like now this sketchy China website has all my information. But then I found it on Amazon Prime like a day later that I could have gotten in a single day shipping situation. So it came a month later and I was like getting really annoyed. But then today when I was trying to figure out how to work this thing, got on Amazon and read the reviews. And apparently because it's like listening to people and stuff, it's got all these songs loaded on it. And people were like, there's some Polish song on here that's like full of cuss words. So like, I don't know what I just introduced into our house, but.
Oh my God, Sally. I think I almost want to see. Can you send me a video of this thing in action?
Do you want to see it?
Not right now. I do want after the pod.
But here, you can see what it looks like.
Oh yeah, wow. It's a cute cactus.
Goes like this.
It wiggles and talks to you.
I obviously saw it on Instagram.
Of course.
But it wasn't an ad on Instagram. A girl that I follow was like, her baby had it. And I was like, oh, I got to get that thing.
That's crazy. Speaking of Instagram, this is kind of where I was going with that privacy thing. You subscribe to the theory that they're listening to you, right?
Yes, and apparently they're not. They say that it's really all about the way that they like triangulate what people around you are searching and like what you spend more time like. If you look at a web page for longer than normal, you know what I'm saying? Like all that
made sense. I've just had too many instances of being at a dinner. Like for example, I was at a bar this past weekend. Actually, I was at what's it called? Katy Trail Ice House in Dallas. One of my favorite bars I've ever been to. So cool.
Yeah.
And it was 4 of us. We were talking about renting an RV for the College World Series to go to Omaha. And the next morning, didn't touch anything on my phone except we talked for hours about doing that.
Okay.
And sure enough, my Instagram story was RV.
Well, so
dealers and rentals.
Supposedly it's that like if you and I are talking about something, and then I look it up, but that I'm near you.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Then that's how but I don't know that
there has to there's something and I'm like people are like freaked out. I'm okay with it because it was helpful. I was like, oh, okay.
No, someone an influencer I follow literally the other day, I was like, if you are actively searching for an outfit, just say it aloud to somebody that like you need a wedding dress for like like a black tie wedding, and then you'll start being served all of these ads for black tie wedding dresses that like
Yeah.
of websites you already shop
Yeah.
at. She was like, honestly, Instagram's my favorite personal shopper because I just like mention it to somebody and then I'm getting served all these ads for exactly what I've been looking for.
Ice cream cake, Sally. I want an ice cream cake so bad. It's not even funny right now. That's my favorite type of cake. If Fritz's birthday party has ice cream cake at it, I will be thrilled.
See, I think though that your
So here
phone
we
may
go.
know that you're trying to trip it up. Like now
It
it knows the
could.
inflection in your voice because it's like, I know that he's lying.
There, some guys like, oh, nope, not gonna give it to him.
Nope, won't do it.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with enough personal information of like desires and wants and needs out there to be super tailored to my like shopping online experience. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I'm fine with it.
I mean, we're getting into some real Black Mirror territory. I just
Right.
like,
As long as if you have a phone in your pocket, your privacy's over anyway. Like
right.
don't
I
even
just
try to
prefer
Yeah.
not to think about like get too deep into like how my information's being used against
Yeah.
me.
they like
then
we're
I'll
so
get, like,
we're
really
also
sad.
we're so insignificant in the whole grand scheme of things. It's just like, I
But
don't care.
we may be significant. Think about like
Like
how they
Who-
use Facebook to like put you in an echo chamber
oh yeah. Oh I mean
and then sway elections.
they do that. They certainly do that.
Yeah.
Looking at
Staring right
looking
the
at
camera.
you, Grandma.
Cambridge Analytica.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah. Well, if you're swayed by Facebook information, then we got to talk. Anyway,
Yeah. That's a whole different conspiracy theory podcast.
it sure is. How about the mail-in, Sally? Do you want to do that?
We could do
I
that.
kind of like the
guess.
Brett and Sally talk show, to be honest with you. But let's jump in.
We could do like a whole conspiracy theory like mail in though if people like wanted to like write in about that.
We could do. We talked about this doing more themed mail-ins.
Yeah.
We could do a conspiracy mail-in.
Conspiracy hour.
Shouts to Circling Conspiracies.
Okay.
Let's do this. Hey guys, I might be moving apartments and living with 3 roommates instead of 1. What's the best way to decide who gets a master bedroom, parking spot, etc.? Do you roll the dice and decide if somebody wants to pay $100 extra a month? What is the fair situation here? Thank you guys. I feel like, no offense, you like to, like you're good at this.
Yeah.
You know who should get what and how to get there and why.
My first thought of this question is don't live with 3 other people.
Sure. But
That's not what they're asking us.
circumstances provide.
But here's what we did. And I actually the last time I lived with like more than one person.
Yeah.
So actually the 2 girls I was living with when I met Will. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that I lived with a girl for a year. We like both of us never lived there and then I haven't had a roommate since then.
Okay.
We lived in a townhouse in Houston
Mm-hmm.
and there was a master bedroom up on the top floor. It was, my bedroom alone, just the room was at least the size of this room.
Oh, wow.
Actually, probably like my whole bedroom suite with like closet, etc., was like the size of this whole office. It was huge.
Not bad.
I had a huge bedroom, a massive walk-in closet,
Mm-hmm.
a second closet in my bathroom,
Come on.
and then a huge bathroom, like massive, with like a shower and a bathtub. Brett, guess
Okay.
what I was paying per month?
What? Like $900?
$1,200
Oh my God.
for like basically the penthouse.
Were you like in the Heights too? Like in a cool...
No, we were in Rice Military.
Okay.
But still, screaming deal.
Yeah.
Screaming deal.
Yeah.
So when we decided to live together and we went and like sat down and talked and we decided we were going to rent this place, I was like, I personally would like the master. Obviously, I'm
Mhm.
willing to pay more.
Sure.
And the other 2 girls were like, yeah, that's fine. I don't
Okay.
care. So they actually were more fighting. There was 3 bedrooms and it was 2 bedrooms on the top floor. My master, huge, enormous bedroom, and then like a smaller bedroom.
Mhm.
And then on the like the middle floor was like our living room, kitchen, etc. And then the bottom floor was like the garage and a bedroom and a bathroom. And so they were actually fighting about who's going to get a 3rd floor versus the bottom. That nobody wanted the bottom.
Yeah.
And we drew straws at,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Like
So
those,
actually, I
those
think
two.
what we did is we drew straws, and I had first pick, and they were
Got it.
like,
Okay.
if you want the master, take the master, because neither of us want it. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's what we did, and I paid more.
Yep.
But honestly, not
Not
more.
enough. Okay.
Honestly, looking back, I should have paid so much more, because then the guys who lived there after us asked our opinion on how to split stuff. And I was like, well, this is what I paid. And they're like, are you kidding me?
Oh no.
I should have been paying probably half the rent, and I was paying like
just over a third.
just over a third.
Oh boy. I mean, I had a similar situation in New York. I had the railroad apartment. I had the bedroom.
Yeah.
And my buddy John had the closet, which was converted into a bedroom, and I paid $100 more a month.
Yeah.
And that's the obvious answer here is monetarily, you can figure a lot of these things out.
Right.
But if like, I think that's the way I've always done it. I don't even know if you can roll a dice if you want and leave it up to chance and say, we're all going to pay the same and
see,
you get the luck of the draw. But
I think what we did is most fair. Obviously, if you're in the bigger bedroom or you have the parking spot or whatever, you're paying more. And
correct. Yeah.
what the guys who lived there after us did was literally break it down by square footage, which then made that person with the penthouse like essentially pay half the rent.
Mm-hmm.
I think they paid a little less than like half, but like not very much. But the way that you pick that can be like a draw a number out of a hat or draw straws or roll a die, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you should be able to like have an order, unless somebody is willing to step up and be like, hey, I'm happy to take the smallest bedroom because I want to pay the least.
Yep.
And there always is usually someone like that. Like usually in every friend group that I've been a part where.
Yeah. Especially if you have four.
Right.
Like there's one of the four is gonna be like, hey,
I'd love
to pay the least here. So count me into that one.
And you may have somebody who doesn't care what room they have, but they really want their own bathroom, or they don't care what room they have, but they need this parking spot.
Yeah, that's an interesting, like the parking spot one especially is interesting because that can be a need as much as a want. And so that should be on, like if parking's $50 a month, like the garage spot, like that should be all on one person. That should never be split amongst the
right. And actually the same house that we had a garage, and it was a 2-car garage.
Okay.
Someone had to park outside. Again, got fixed because one of the girls had an SUV that couldn't fit in the garage.
Oh,
so it was like, well, here's the two people who are parking in the garage and the other person's parking outside by necessity. So like, honestly, it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to like have a conversation and just say like, here's what I want. And if other people want the same thing that I want, then we're going to do it in a fair way by like drawing straws or whatever.
Sure. If you get down to like even kind of pretty much even square footage, like maybe it's a little bit bigger of a bedroom, but it's on a lower floor, so it's less desired. Then you get to a point where maybe straws or a dice game is fair, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna live with the results because there's always the option to choose. I'm gonna go live somewhere else. You know,
right?
That's.
I think first you meet and you talk about, you basically rank the bedrooms.
Yep.
Of like
pros and cons, or who needs what,
and
or
like
who
what
wants
each bedroom is going to pay. If they're 4 of the exact same bedroom, which I've yet to come across an apartment that's that equal.
Yep.
But like you kind of decide who's going to pay what, and then if that solves the issue for people, because somebody is like, I'm willing to pay the most.
Yep.
Let that solve it. But if then once you've ranked them and decided who's going to pay what based on their amenities, then you go to the like fair. Okay, here's how we're
agreed. And you could even do things like you could start doing the cable situation or internet, right? Where, hey, this is tied, but I'll pay for this if I get this room. And
but I mean, at the same time, you're like, you could, yes, you can do that, or you can like,
you can guarantee yourself that room with an add-on, or you could leave it up to chance and split internet or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but I haven't done that since college.
And it's like okay to like,
I lived with 7 other people
in a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool though. It was a duplex.
Yeah.
And 5 guys, or no, excuse me, 6 guys, 2 girls. And me and my buddy Christian split the attic, and it was awesome.
Like when I lived in a house and stuff in college, same situation. It was like, I'll take this bedroom and I'll pay more because it has its own bathroom.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Whatever it is. You just kind of.
Usually there's somebody willing who there's always someone who wants to pay the most and there's
Mhm.
always someone who wants to pay the least. And so it's easy to weed those people out. It's the people in the middle that like.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But it's a, can be a fun conversation to have where you sort of break down the rooms. It's almost like an
Yeah.
NFL draft. You're like, all right,
Yeah. And
this
like
guy's got good this and that guy's got bad that.
and then when you do it somewhat fairly, you can't resent each other because like
No.
you
It is what it is. You're going to live
you
there for a
agree to the
year or
rules.
two. And
Yeah.
exactly. You know what these guys should do, though, when they move in, Sally?
What?
They should grab ButcherBox.
Oh,
Just stock the
stock the
fridge up with
freezer
it.
and
Stock the
fridge?
freezer up with it. Looks like mine right now. My freezer is absolutely filled to the gills with meat because it's not grilling season yet because my freaking apartment complex won't let us grill yet. And
really?
it's
I was gonna
closed
say
for
it's
the
perfect
it's closed
weather.
for the winter still. The pool
It's,
opened
like,
up yesterday.
Not winter though. I mean, it's
I
definitely
agree.
spring in 4 days.
And the grills should absolutely be open. So if you're listening, blank apartment complex, let's go because I want to grill my ButcherBox up big time. Meal prepping is difficult and ButcherBox makes it easy. ButcherBox is a subscription service that takes the guesswork out of finding high quality meat. The other day, where I actually took the time to defrost and whip something together was the lobsters that I've had for a while.
Lobster tails.
Lobster
Serve in
tails,
church.
and I buttered the frick out of them, and they were fantastic. I tried to make a lobster roll. It didn't turn out great, but I think that was more pilot error than anything.
Yeah, that was your fault. It
But
wasn't the lobster's fault.
it was not the lobster's fault because the straight up buttered lobster that I made was phenomenal. And then I think it was more about the bun situation that I chose
Yeah.
and the slaw. But anyway, that was a ButcherBox lobster, and they were fantastic. What's your favorite meat, Sally?
Right now I'm like digging a lot of steak, like a fillet.
Oh, okay. Well, guess who can provide that?
Well,
for
I
you?
know. And like this is actually a great time for me because when I was pregnant, I did not want any red meat.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm just like having a resurgence of loving steak.
You went so long without steak. You're just like, I need more red meat in my life.
Yeah.
Steak and a nice
maybe I
glass
have
of,
an iron deficiency or
glass
something.
of wine with it. Oh,
Yeah.
money. And you can get that with ButcherBox delivered to your door every single month. They come with no antibiotics or added hormones in the meat, and each box contains between 8 to 14 pounds of meat, depending on the box you choose. That's enough for 24 individual meals. It's packed fresh and shipped frozen for convenience, so you can save time on your next grocery store trip. Customize your own box or go with one of theirs. Either way, you get exactly what you want. And this is your chance to have this is your chance to never have to shop for ground beef again. I did meatballs the other night. Banh mi style meatballs on a bed of rice.
Wow.
Oh, buddy. That's right. ButcherBox is giving new members free ground beef for life. Plus, you get a $10 off coupon. Sign up at butcherbox.com/mailin and get 2 pounds of ground beef free in every order for the life of your membership, plus a $10 off coupon. Log on to butcherbox.com/mailin to claim this deal. That's free burgers for life, Sally. Next one. Hey, Brett and Sally. Big fan of the show. Thank you. I moved to a new city in August after graduating from college, and I'm ready to start dating. I've tried all the apps with no luck over the past couple months, and I'm thinking about just trying to meet people when my friends and I go out. The issue is that it seems that most people that go out in my city tend to just stick to their friend group all night and don't really mingle that much. Do you guys have any tips/suggestions for how to start up a conversation with a girl/a group of girls at a bar in a similar social setting? Not a big fan of one-liners or cheesy pickups, more so something genuine that indicates I'm interested in getting to know the other person. Sally, love talking dating on this show. Been a while since we've gone, kind of the how do you meet a girl, how do you meet a guy? Where do you stand? What's the latest in the dating world?
This gives me a lot of Houston post grad vibes because what he just described is like exactly how I felt when I moved to Houston.
Sure.
Like I moved there, I had a good group of friends, but I was single, and there are a lot of kind of like not cliques, but friend groups in Houston that stuck together, especially like when they were, 23, 24, 25. Really
Yeah,
really post grad of like, we would go to bars and it would be like the A&M crew and then like the UT people and then LSU people. And it's like, you maybe like mingled a little bit because you saw someone that like maybe you went to high school with or like from work or whatever. But for the most part, people really stuck to their crew. And this, I'm just getting like, I'm having flashbacks of like being at bars in
at Kirby
Houston.
Ice House, and there's just your circle and their circle.
Well,
and
like
it's
Kirby
like
Ice House did not exist at that point
Oh,
in my life.
what about McIntyre's?
I don't know what McIntyre's is.
Oh,
I'm like trying to think of like Royal Oak was one of them. I don't even think that bar exists anymore.
Is that a grocery store?
Royal Blue. I think the place was called Royal Oak. Had like fireplaces and shit, but we would like always like be in the same corner, and then you would like go and you'd be like, oh, there's like the fucking A&M kids over there.
What about Clubbing at Clay?
Oh, I mean, Clay did exist.
Clay was ripping.
Clay, love Clay. Anyway, so I do have this exact memory, and the thing is that everyone feels the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is like, I love my college friends, but I need to like meet new people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Of
everyone
course.
feels that way. It's the same thing as like everyone when they get to college is like, I love my high school friends, but I want to meet new people. And you are forced into it in college because you're at parties and stuff like that.
Right.
I feel like post-grad almost feels more intimidating, even though you like just came out of like years of learning how to mingle with people.
Because it's different. You go from pretty much everybody's the same more or less to like this. Now there's different jobs and different ages and different sort of social groups. And where'd you meet instead of meeting? Oh, I met at like Sigma Chi. Oh, I met at like the PWC, mixer at Houston Country Club or what. It's like, oh, okay.
So I think a couple things here. One, stay on the dating apps.
Yeah, of course.
You don't have to like be on them all the time, but having like kind of a backup almost.
Well, it's just another like tool in your toolbox, right? Where it shouldn't be your end all be all, and it shouldn't be totally disregarded. It's worked for some people.
Should we bring back fucking Grouper? Remember Grouper?
You talked, so you did this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Grouper was legit a great way to meet people.
Yeah.
And it was really low stress because you would go.
Yeah, give a quick recap.
For the people who are too young to remember what Grouper is. Grouper was a dating app where basically it was in specific cities, and you would sign up and you would get matched with another person. And so say I match with a guy, I bring 2 friends and he brings 2 friends.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have to be like on the app. It's just like you and the other person. And they would even like set you up beforehand before the date. Like, I think they would like, you didn't always have to do this, but like 2 truths and a lie or something like that. Yeah. Like a fun fact about me, whatever. So that you could see their stuff before you met them. But it wasn't like, I think you could see their picture, but it wasn't really like a dating app where you could like see lots of pictures. You could just like see one picture and you're like, okay, cool. But it was also like low stakes. You're going to a restaurant with 6 people, whatever. And then you kind of just like mingle around. Yeah. I had several grouper dates and they were all hilariously fun. And we like blacked out at most of them.
There you go.
But it was like a great way to be like, I actually like met a couple guys that way where it was like, oh, and the other thing is like we were in Houston, so we'd like go to Little Woodrow's or something, and then like one of the guys we were with like ran into some of his friends. Then you're talking to other dudes, like
absolutely.
Honestly, just creating a network, and that was
right.
Grouper was so good for that, but I don't even know if that app exists anymore.
Now it's just called Swingers, but like I was intimidated by this too, especially like I hit a moment. I don't know if I've really talked about this on this podcast, but where I met Caroline early on in my Austin adventure, call it. And then the pandemic hit. Yeah. So I had weirdly a really good group of Houston friends that were just all Caroline's friends. Yeah. And still do. But once the pandemic, we're still fluctuating in and out of it. Right. But like once it sort of relented for the first time. Yeah. And I was in Austin sort of by myself on weekends, and like for you and Will were having a child, and Dave and Alyssa were having a child, and Dylan no offense, is 38 and has a 7-year-old. So there was a moment like, and Randy was bit or whatever it was. There was a moment where I was like, oh, I don't have any friends outside of work and Caroline right now. So I kind of lived this momentarily, and the easiest thing, right, we always say is like, to meet new people, you go play an intramural sport, or you go like your coworkers, or
Right.
they kind of always lead to one connection meets another. As I sort of made this concerted effort to say yes to every potential thing.
Yeah.
And that's obvious. That's chalk answer. But it does help in terms of meeting people, and especially in terms of potential romantic partners. Like, I love going to a bar, everybody knows this, and setting up my laptop and doing happy hour.
Yeah.
And I always, always, always run into one person that I strike up a conversation with, who sits next to me, and boom, now we have each other's numbers, whether it's a guy, girl, old guy, like old girl. I ran into a realtor at Carve the other day.
Yeah.
Who shouts to Debbie. She's great. And like, you just kind of strike up those conversations. But that leads me to my point of, when it comes to a romantic thing, I'm not a cheesy one-liner guy, pickup artist either, who can just walk up to a group of girls and say, hi, I'm Brett. I never have been able to do that. I've always needed a third party something, whether it's a person, whether it's an activity, or whether it's a bartender.
Yeah.
So if I can bounce a comment off the bartender commenting on a girl next to me at a bar,
yeah,
it's sort of, call it the triangle method. Where,
we talked about this last episode.
Where you basically are introducing multiple people to sort of cut the tension between two people. And that has worked for me in the past. Or whether it's in college, it's a group project, or in college, it's it's an activity, right? Where there's a reason to talk to somebody about more than just like, hi, I'm Brett, what's your name? And I think that's something that's worked for me big time, especially if I don't know the person, or it's a group venture, it's a have you met Ted kind of thing. But
I think most people struggle with this. Like, as extroverted as you might think you are, it's really hard to just walk. We talked about this last episode, just like walk up to a random person,
and especially in an age where I think it's sort of less acceptable to be, especially in post-grad life, people, it can come off as creepy quickly if you're not careful.
Right. But here's how I feel now, being older and hopefully wiser. I look back at that now and I'm like, there's no interaction. There's actually one single interaction that I remember from Houston that I like left a bad taste in my mouth. Every other guy who like came up to me and offered to buy me a drink, either like I turned down because I was like not into it. I was like, oh, thank you so much, but I'm here with friends, or like accepted the drink, talked to him for 20 minutes, and then like we parted ways, or maybe we went on a date or whatever. Like, but there's no like, I have very little memory of being like, getting offered a drink, being like, that guy was such a weirdo. How dare he? Like, no one's ever overthinking it like that. Like, if anything, they're like gonna politely turn you down.
Sure. Yeah. And that's fine.
Or they're like, oh, that's so nice, of course. And then like you talk to them, and if it leads somewhere, great. But like, no one's going home and being like, how dare that guy talk to me? The only interaction I remember, actually at Royal Oak, this guy bought me a drink. We talked for like 10 minutes. And I like thought he was going to ask for my number, and he was like, okay, you want to get out of here? And I was like, oh, no, I'm like with friends. He was like, so I just bought you a drink for nothing.
Oh,
and like that to me,
worst type of,
I was like, yeah, you did.
Person.
And now I'm like concerned that it's drugs. So I'm leaving and finding my friend right now. Like, as long as you're not doing that and a terrible human being in general, no one's going to be upset if you like approach them and buy them a drink. And I think about that now, and I'm like, I wish that I knew then what I know now, which is like everyone is struggling with this confidence, and everyone is. I think about all the girls that are at bars with their friends being like, I wish somebody would come talk to me. That is not like.
Is that really like a pervasive thought?
Yes. Like, I feel like
That's
being a girl post grad, like when I was in Houston, is like, you're with your friends. Maybe some of them have boyfriends, but you're single, and you're like, I would love if like we talked to that group of guys.
Yeah.
But then I at the time like didn't want to be the girl who was like going up to dudes. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna like hang here with my friends. Like most girls are absolutely fine with being talked to. Like again, if you're not being creepy or like way too forward or like sleazy or cheesy,
For
but like
sure. Yeah.
if you're polite and asked to buy someone a drink, the worst they're gonna tell you is no.
Yep. That's very fair. So you're saying the world needs more shot shooters and like golden retriever personalities.
Yeah, and you know what? I wish that I would have been like that.
Me
Like
too.
I think about that
just,
now. I'm like,
yeah.
what was I so scared of? Like, what are people like? I wish I could. I hope that I can instill that in my own children
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have that confidence in myself in my like early 20s. And I think about that now. And even now, like I have to remember when I'm at places, be like, just go up and say hi. What is the fucking worst thing that can happen?
You know what? That is really true. And I think it's very hard for a lot of people to get out of their own way. And
Yeah.
Because I still don't. And it's funny is I become very good friends with like Randy's buddies. Shouts to
Yeah.
Omar and the boys to the point where I can very much go out with them without Randy, no offense, and have a blast.
Randy's
But
like, what the hell?
They say Randy is great for being at a bar and especially like trying to interact with a new group of girls.
Yeah.
Because Randy is a golden retriever and he has no problem going up and saying, "Hey, like I'm Randy," or like doing, something funny and I think it's awesome to have that guy or girl in the group who is that golden retriever personality.
Surround yourself with that person.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's going to make your life easier if you don't have the confidence or maybe your social anxiety or something like that, which a lot of people don't. And that makes it easier too. And that's what I said. The third party always helps.
Will and I were at a wedding a couple months ago, and it was a girl that I went to CRNA school with, and our other friend from CRNA school like brought her daughter who's like 14, and this other kid walked up to her daughter and was like this like kid and was like, "Hi, I'm Jonathan. You look to be my age." And I think that we're the only kids at this party. Actually, they were probably like 11 or 12. And he was like, "Do you want to hang out with me?" And she was like, sure. And he's like, "Cool. I'm going to go over here and like draw. Do you want to like," and like Will and I, and then my friend Heather and her husband were all like staring at each other. And we were like, that kid has the most confidence I've ever seen. Like that is what we should all strive to be like. Like he just shot his shot. She was like, "Sure, that sounds great." Like we were like, "That's fucking awesome." Like
that's so funny.
I love this kid.
A lot of kids are like that. Like when do we lose that?
I think you lose that when you like start being beaten down by the rest of the world and like you start watching like media and like you see on TV that people like get made fun of or turned down or whatever in a TV show, and then you like learn that's a behavior that you're supposed to like may happen to you.
Mm-hmm. It's like the inherent nihilism of the world just creeps in at like 10.
It just beats you down.
Beats you down until you die.
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth.
Got
fun one. Fun one right there, Sally. So yeah, just be a golden retriever. That's my advice.
Yeah.
What's up, gang? I want to travel more, but I'm pretty inexperienced when it comes to the planning and budgeting side of things. I've flown often enough, but always as a member of a group through a school trip or something like that. What all goes into planning a solo trip, and what tips do you have for getting the most out of a weekend visit to a new city? In particular, is there anything to look for or avoid with booking flights and hotels? Thanks and love you guys. Plenty of group trip talk on this podcast, Sally, but how about solo trip pod?
We kind of talked about this last week too about because she
work
was taking,
conferences,
like, work
right?
conference. Yeah. But here are my like, if you're taking a solo trip and it's going to be over a weekend, I like the take a nonstop flight situation.
Of course.
So we're actually, Will and I were just talking about like we want to do something Memorial Day weekend. We're like, well, if we're gonna go anywhere, it needs to be somewhere with a nonstop flight because I don't want to spend like most of my weekend trying to travel to get some destination.
That's fair.
Obviously, if you have more time to play with, you can like go a little bit out of bounds and fly in somewhere and drive somewhere, or you can take a connecting flight. But if you don't have that much time to work with, pick a city that's easier to get to so that you can just take a nonstop flight. So like a great easy way to start is like some city that's got young people, good scene, whatever. Like I'm just spitballing off the top of my head here, like Chicago, Nashville, DC, LA, whatever. That's
Austin.
like Austin. That's got a good scene of just a lot going on.
Of course.
Number two, if you're doing a hotel, I mean, we get hit up all the time for stuff like asking about Austin.
Recommendations, yeah.
So my other suggestion for in terms of like booking a trip is like once you've decided what your location's going to be, then or the city you're going to is like to like crowdsource recommendations. So great way to do that is like either your friends or the members of the fandom of this podcast.
This is by the way, this is my idea for like an entire platform of Wash Media is basically city by city guides crowdsourced from people that live there.
Yeah. Or
That's
a
free
great one is
IP
like
out there for
Instagram,
everybody.
like
Yeah.
put up a comment box and be like, has anybody been to Nashville? Like, where should I stay? What should I eat? Like the internet can be great for shit like that. Like,
of course. And you don't need to go on Yelp and find like every 40-year-old person goes for beers and brings their kids. There's
Right.
like there's such a market for where do I go at 24 on a solo trip on a bit of a budget.
Yeah.
That like currently doesn't really exist.
Well, the internet can be really overwhelming. It can be so useful, but it can be really overwhelming. So especially when you're booking stuff for a city you've never been to, I think sometimes the internet can be a little detrimental when you like tee off if you don't know where to look.
Absolutely.
And like you said, if you're like solely going off of Yelp, you have to think about who are the people who comment on shit on Yelp. Like, so think about the audience of like what is like using the website you're looking at.
Yeah.
Like one of my number one, like I love when we're going somewhere to like book out restaurants. Like I will book out every meal, a reservation just in case so that like I have an option no matter what we do. And for a long time, and I don't even know if this is like a cool website or not, I use Eater all the time.
Eater's great, yeah.
Because I feel like I trust most of those people and recommendations. But then I've recently even gotten more into like just asking a friend or like, this is so embarrassing, but I fucking love Dumois. And
oh boy,
like she's or he, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, whoever is running Dumois has like basically started this thing of like picking cities. I mean, mostly where celebrities are, like New York, LA, whatever, where people are like writing in like where all the like hot spots are. Like that's a great way too. So like finding some sort of like account that you have to be able to trust what people are saying. And a big thing for me is like if I find something that has a lot of sponsor content, I am like less likely to trust it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm like, are you really into this restaurant or are you just sponsored by this restaurant?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And there's like when it comes to the planning side of this thing, I'd say a good rule of thumb is to have one thing booked or planned a day.
Yeah.
And to keep yourself relatively loose.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because a city has a lot of good to offer regardless. And the other point I wanted to make on that front is when it comes to a hotel or a lodging situation, if you're an active person who wants to be exploring, maybe save on the hotel.
Right.
And spend on the places. Now, if you're a person who's going to a new city, maybe to do a little more relaxation, maybe you splurge a bit on the hotel.
Right.
And spend some time there or at the spa or with yourself and kind of a recharge, restore sort of trip. So kind of, I think you have to decide which kind of trip you want. Is it going to be active and exploratory or is it going to be a recharge, relaxed kind of trip? And I think your hotel it kind of starts that journey for you.
You know how else I pick hotels? I mean, I've talked about this a lot. We use a travel agent now, which I like wholeheartedly did not believe in until like the last year or two.
Sure.
We used a travel agent before the pandemic when we went to London, Scotland. And that's like when I really became a believer because before that, I was like, I can book this stuff by myself. And we still, when we just go to like a city or something, I don't like ask Katie to book that for us because like she's got but when I want a trip and like want activities and stuff like that and recommendations, I go to her. So that's always an option too. But I will book hotels based on the hotel bar.
You didn't no argument from me there because that is my favorite thing to do.
Like we're like talking about we're going to be in London for a couple days in September, and we like love one of the hotels we went to there, and we probably will go back because it's a great hotel, but it also has an amazing hotel bar. But I'm like, should we test out some other places? I love sitting in a hotel bar. Love it.
Sally,
like
you're
on a
speaking
trip,
my language.
like when you get in, you like go to the hotel bar. When you come in at night and you've like had dinner or whatever, especially like a solo trip, like sitting in a hotel bar is a great way to meet people, or like no one's gonna really bother you, or you can talk to people. Like people can like tell by what your vibe is if you want to be spoken to or not.
And everybody has a story at a hotel bar,
right?
There's
and like usually
there.
the bartenders are awesome.
Yeah.
So I will legit choose a place like based on reviews of the hotel bar, or like a great, like any travel website. Like I think I was on Condé Nast the other day, like looking at like London best hotel bars. I'm like, oh hell yeah, this is gonna help me decide where I'm going. like listicle places like that where I can get recommendations, because I think that's like one of my favorite activities on vacation.
Sally, you are gonna get zero argument from me because I totally agree.
Yeah.
And it's Monopoly money.
Yeah.
I'll put it on room 418. And
that's such a bad way to think about it, but it's so true. Because you like just don't even, it doesn't even compute in your brain.
Zero computation.
That like we really do. Will and I will add a couple $100 to whatever budget we are doing for the hotel. Being like, okay, we're gonna spend on incidentals.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And I could not agree more. So I'm sure some people would be like, that's lame. Like go to another bar. Like, no, that sometimes the hotel
I legit
bar,
like love hotel bars in Austin. Austin Proper's bar is like one of my favorite bars in the city, hands down.
That's a $21 espresso martini for the boys, but I'll tell you what.
But I like the people watching is amazing.
Yes.
So like I'll have one cocktail and like coast for the whole night, because like the vibes and the people watching are amazing.
Very good vibes. Very, very, very good vibes. There's also the new bar, I think it's called Corinne, by the new JW. Really
Did we go there after Micah's wedding? Did we meet y'all there?
No, we met at Foxy's.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it might have been. I know.
No, we met at Foxy's, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, hotel bars are the best. One more tip I wanted to include in this question, though, is that don't feel guilty about not doing things.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be like, go. I need to be here. I need to see the public library. I need to do this. I need to do that.
Yeah.
Like New York, you can find yourself being like, oh, if I'm not like out and about doing things, I'm wrong here, or something's wrong with my trip. I'm not making the most of my money. It's like, well, you're recharging yourself. You're exploring a new place and experiencing new things, whether you're walking a street or in an in-depth conversation with the bartender. Like,
and something that you want to do may not be something that other people care about, and that's okay too.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all over Instagram for you to have a good vacation solo trip.
Right. Like when we went to New York a couple of years ago for a wedding, Will was like, we had like a brunch planned, and he was like, I don't care what we do before this brunch. We have to go to the ALD store. Like, I just have to go. I was like, okay, we'll do that. Like,
sure.
Probably not on a lot of people's lists, but like, that's what we did. It was a great time. But that, I think, also is a great way or like method of crowdsourcing, is being like, hey, do I need to do this very tour? Like, do I need to go to the Bean? Like,
and take a picture of my reflection.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has something in their city that like they're known for, but like no one's actually doing. Like, who's actually going to the Statue of Liberty?
The wings in Nashville where you take the picture, or the pink wall in LA.
Mean, like LA. People were like talking about seeing the bats in Austin. I was like, I have lived here my whole life. I've never
seen the bats.
Seen the bats in my entire life.
You don't need to see the bats.
No, most people like already know that like that's like, you know what's super touristy in a city, aka the Bean. But like there are also like restaurants that somebody can tell you like, hey, do not do that.
Yeah.
The wait is going to be so long. Actually, this place down the street is so much better.
Franklin Barbecue.
Yeah. Heard of Terry Black's?
Just saying. You don't need to go there. There's plenty of good barbecue.
Anyway.
I'm jealous. I want to go on a solo trip now.
I just want to go on any trip.
Yeah, I'm going to Florida Friday.
Nice.
Wedding, though.
Where in Florida?
Naples.
Oh, nice. Are you flying into Fort Myers?
I am.
RSW?
Yes. RSW, baby. And then I'm flying out of Punta Gorda, direct to Austin, though.
Wait, what airline?
Allegiant.
Oh.
Little sneaky trick Sunday night flight.
Have you flown Allegiant before?
Have not. Could get interesting. Could get interesting.
Do you have to pay to like carry on a bag?
I think I have to pay to put pants on the aircraft. Like they're like, oh, you're a sweatshirt? Yeah. Come on.
Give me money for that.
Yeah. $35 carry on.
And you fly into like the weird terminal of Austin.
Oh, the South Terminal. I know. I'm gonna have to walk home. I don't land until 11:30. There's gonna be no Ubers going to the South Terminal.
Yeah. Well, somebody will come get you.
Somebody will come pick me up. Maybe Randy.
He's already shaking his head no.
He said no.
Cool.
Hey guys, in honor of St. Patty's Day this week, what is your best or worst holiday or holiday party story? Did y'all ever have any St. Patty's Day bar crawls that got out of hand? And am I too old to go to the one this year? Randy says he's not too old.
What is your worst holiday party story?
I passed out and threw up under the Christmas tree senior year of college, wearing a sweater where 2 reindeer were humping each other on a present, using it as a pillow.
Cute.
That's not really fun, but I went to one SantaCon. I'd never do that again.
I have 2.
Okay.
They're both bad.
Oh boy.
One is particularly bad. One's more like, I wouldn't call it a holiday so much as like St. Patrick's Day / March Madness in Vegas.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That all counts. People wearing green.
Yeah. So number 1 is when I lived in Houston, we would do something on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. It was a Friendsgiving, but it wasn't. We literally just called it like the night before Thanksgiving. And we would go to this place in Houston called BRC, which stood for Big Red Cock. It had like a huge, giant red rooster sculpture outside. I don't think it exists anymore. R.I.P. BRC.
Yes.
So we would have dinner, like a big group of people. It was like kind of like our Sunday night dinner crew. Mm-hmm. And basically what we would do is we all were at this like long table drinking wine, and we would do, I can't remember how we played, but we were playing this game that like you would say that like whoever said the like lowest number had to drink a king's cup of wine.
Ooh.
And so you would play like with like the different sides of the table, and then you'd like the 2 losers of that side each side had to play each other.
This sounds very suspiciously like a game. Listen to this game where everybody had a beer at a round table at a ski lodge, and a dealer would pass out a card.
Yeah.
And whoever had the lowest card had to drink.
It was essentially like that.
It's like a terrible game, but we'd all be like, oh.
Yeah. So I lost a couple times. But then what really put me over the edge was like losing and having to drink the giant King's Cup like Pinot Grigio that was like filled to the brim. And the like as time is going on, like the dinner's just getting more and more debaucherous. We like all went around and like said we were thankful for or whatever.
Oh, well, I'm thankful for
fully blacked out, like bad. And we walked back to, it was like in Rice Military. Like the restaurant was really close to my house at the time.
Sure.
And it was we were down the street from the friends that we hung out with like every Sunday. Mm-hmm. So we walked back to their house, and my friend Billy accused me of like losing his car keys.
Oh no.
And I was like, he like had handed me his car keys at one point to like put in my purse or something. And then on the walk home, he like couldn't find them and I couldn't find them. Okay. And I didn't remember him giving them to me to put in the purse. So like he like was like, I can't get into my car. And I was like, I don't know where your keys are. So I like was trying to call a locksmith to come like help me get into the car at like 2 a.m. to like help look for the keys that were possibly locked in Billy's car. This is all a moot point because he wasn't even going to drive. He was like spending the night, and I was going to walk home and go to my house and then drive to Austin the next morning for Thanksgiving.
Oh boy.
So I couldn't find them. I walk home. I'm like feeling really bad about myself. I got in a huge fight with my sister because like I was hammered and she was clearly not. The next morning, I'm like so hungover, I have to drive to Austin. And I'm like texting Billy. I'm like, I'm so sorry I lost your keys. He was like, what are you talking about? They're in my pocket. I was like, oh, I just spent so much time at like 2 a.m. blacked out of my mind trying to like find your stupid keys that you had in your pocket the whole time. Thanks a lot.
Oh,
But it was
that's tough.
honestly really just such bad hangover anxiety because my sister and I got in that huge fight, and
Yep.
then we had to drive back to Austin together the next day.
Yep.
And I was very hungover, and she was so pissed at me
Oh man.
for like basically yelling at her when I was blackout.
Yeah. I the long drive thing. I'm really that reminded me Christmas Eve. So the 23rd.
Yeah.
I'm driving to Rochester the next day. So 4-hour drive from Saratoga. Christmas Eve, we decided to get blackout
Yeah.
for a Christmas party. Saratoga high school kids. We're coming back from college, so we're probably 20 at this time.
Yeah.
And I slept on a couch in my clothes, sitting up. That's how blackout I was. Just all Bud Heavies. And when you drink like that many Bud Heavies, the next morning is almost worse than
Yeah.
the night before, drunk puke wise, because I threw up like 11 times on my way to Rochester,
That's horrible.
pulling over on the thruway and just out the window. Not good. I didn't have much to drink at family Christmas Eve dinner that night.
My other story is a St. Patrick's Day story, actually. So it was St.
Nice.
Patrick's Day, the Thursday that we got into Vegas for March Madness.
Okay. The best weekend to go to Vegas.
And we were, it was me and my friend, and we were sitting at a sports book, like watching basketball by
Sure.
ourselves. And like a couple guys started talking to us. They seemed nice. And they were like, do you want to go to SDK with us for dinner tonight? And we're like, sure. We have no plans. We're single, whatever.
Damn.
So we're like, okay, cool. Like free dinner. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, cool. Let's meet at the Wynn at whatever time. And so we like exchange numbers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the Wynn, and the two guys, I mean, they're like nice. They like, so they meet us in the casino, and they're like, hey, so glad you're here. Our friend Trut, his name was Trut.
Come on.
Trut invited some girls too. And we're like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. And he's like, okay, see what you think. And like, we all get in a limo to go to STK together.
Oh, no.
And it's us, these two guys, their friend Trut, who's like a total dirtbag, and 3 prostitutes.
No way.
Me and my friend were like,
Look
do
at the
they-
Irish.
I was like, do they think that we're prostitutes?
Oh my God.
And I was like, they clearly don't. Because like they like we were like dressed so different. I was like, oh no. So we go to dinner. It's actually really fun, but we get hammered. And I, after like a couple seafood towers, etc., spilled a glass of red wine all over my white outfit.
Oh.
Like I'm wearing like a white silk top and a white Zara skirt.
Yep.
And I went into the bathroom with my friend, and I was like, it kind of looks like I'm just like wearing a tie-dyed outfit, right? She's like, absolutely, you look fine. That's how drunk I was that like the next day, I like thought, I was like, oh, this just looks tie-dyed. It did not look tie-dyed.
No.
It looked like I had spilled a whole glass of red wine all over my white outfit.
Oh my God.
It was not good.
Oh my God.
But on the bright side, that was like a very debaucherous weekend in Vegas. That weekend on Sunday, this is why you always take the early flight home, because we took the like 6:00 p.m. flight out of Vegas, and I have never had scaries that bad. And I tweeted about having Sunday
boy.
scaries, and Will from his Sunday scaries Twitter liked my tweet, and that's how I figured out what Sunday scaries was.
And that was the
And
beginning
I stalked him for a year, and that's how we met.
Wow. Look
So,
at Randy's little
Really,
wow.
really, we all have Trut to thank. for me
Moral
and
of the
Will.
story. Thank you, St. Patrick's Day, the NCAA, and Trut.
Trut and the prostitutes.
Trut and the
Had
prostitutes.
I not
That
had
sounds
the
like a
worst
cover band.
hangover, anxiety, and scaries of my life, I would have never.
Wow. Folks, that's why you listen till 59:12 in the podcast. Is because you get the when
You get the
Scaries
Trut
met
story.
Sally
Yeah,
story.
Yeah.
Shouts to Trut. Hope he's doing well.
I doubt it. He was a degenerate. I don't think he is.
I hope Trut and those prostitutes had a good night.
Oh man,
What? Oh, wow. What a story.
yeah.
And then when are you too old for SantaCon?
I don't know. Like when
Or St. Patty's Day?
when your hangovers last for 2 days. I
Oh,
think.
that's a great. Okay. If you get 2-day hangovers, you're too old for cons.
Wait,
whether
when
they
you
Santa
know
or
that you're
Patty.
going out on St. Patrick's Day on Saturday and that you know your Monday is still going to be awful, you're too old to be doing the bar crawl.
Look at that. That's a great way to put it because there's no age. It's more of a feel.
Yeah.
Huh. I love it. I love it. Which means I am very much too
Right.
old.
Like a great time to party for St. Patrick's Day is when you like parlay your hangover on Sunday into a brunch and then you go home and like you had a fun weekend.
Yeah.
But when you're partying Saturday and it's lasting all the way to Monday, that's not good.
The Santa Cons, man, like New York and Saratoga Santa Cons and Boston St. Patty's Day, but you go watch the parade. I did them all once. I was like, I'm never, ever doing these again because Santa Con, especially, you're in line for more than you're at the bars for, and it's just miserable.
Randy, have you done St. Patrick's Day in Chicago?
Randy's done St. Patty's Day Chicago.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends who did that.
I'm all set. I'm good on cons,
and I never did it.
Crawls.
And I'm like,
you do it once.
Yeah, I think you're done after that.
I've done one St. Patty's.
You see the Green River and you're done.
Oh, no thanks. I don't. Doesn't appeal. I can't hear anything. It's too loud. I have a 2-day hangover. The bars are too packed. You drink beer at both of them, so you can't go to the bathroom. I mean, even when I was like 24, I was like, well, I am beyond. I'll go to the bar. See, that's the thing though. That people are like, oh, you're lame. You don't do cons. I'm at the bars on Tuesdays, guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally going out 5 days a week, most weeks, and just you guys can have SantaCon Saturday.
Is SantaCon like a big Northeast thing? Because like I've never been to a SantaCon.
Oh yeah, New York City is
like I don't know that Austin has a SantaCon.
I don't know.
I definitely don't think that they do.
Yeah, Saratoga has a SantaCon, and I'll do some fests like they have Chowder Fest, where you sample chowder from every restaurant in the city, and you just drink a bunch. Yeah, that's cool. But
yeah,
but in terms of like bar crawls where there's thousands of people involved, I'm giving up the game. I'm retired.
Yeah.
Randy's not. Randy can't wait for the next bar crawl.
St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow. Well,
he already
the day
did it.
This is coming out.
Yeah, he already did the one from last weekend.
Are they not? Is St. Patrick's Day like not this weekend?
It's no. Did you see? It was last weekend.
They always do it the week before.
I was like, I didn't get that. It's way too before St. Patty's Day to see green all over the TL.
Yeah.
I was like, it's March 11th.
Yeah.
Anyway. Any shower thoughts before we get out of here, Sal?
No, I'm just like wondering what person in China is like listening to like everything that's happening in my house right now from that cactus that I bought.
Yeah, I wonder how long it's going to take for me to get let's see. I'm going to go through this quick, see if I get any ice cream cake. Bloomberg Business, Ralph Lauren fragrances, Triscuits. No, I think it's going to take a little while.
Okay, well, like keep us updated.
I will keep you updated. I will screenshot and send your way.
Okay.
And I need to see a video of this dancing cactus.
I'll show you right now.
That'll do it for the mail-in, Sally. Where can the people find you?
Sally deFries on Instagram and Twitter.
I am Brett Merriman at Schmerriman on both. Subscribe to the podcast. Give us a 5-star rating, please. Maybe a review. Tell a friend about it. Hit the hotline number 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or you can write in at the link in the Twitter bio at Mail In Podcast. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.